Imagine building this huge multi-billion-dollar tech company right from scratch. And then just when you're at the absolute peak, you decide, okay, I'm stepping back from running it. Not to just, retire quietly somewhere, but to throw yourself into something completely different, maybe even bigger. It feels pretty counterintuitive in the business world, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, yeah. You see so many founders who just can't let go. But this person, they took a totally different path that really makes you rethink what impact means.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into Shiv, the visionary behind HCL Technologies. Our mission here is to unpack how he first, completely reshaped India's IT scene and then pivoted, redefined philanthropy, really, with this incredible focus on using education to transform the country. The sources we looked at cover his life, the founding of HCL, its crazy growth, his unique way of thinking, and then this huge shift towards education.
And it's interesting, his story doesn't start in some fancy corporate office. He was born in 1945, small village in Tamil Nadu. Middle-class family, his dad worked for the government, but apparently even as a kid, he was really sharp academically.
Right. And he took that brain power into engineering, electrical, and electronics at PSG College in Coimbatore. He did a short stint at a company called DCM, which was pretty established. But you get the sense, even then, that he had this itch, this ambition to build something himself, not just work for someone else. What do you think was driving that so early on?
That's a really good question. Because, okay, he had the technical skills from his degree, but the sheer audacity of what he did next. I mean, think about 1976 in India. The economy was mostly closed off, computers were barely a thing, let alone built in India. And yet Nadar somehow saw this tech future for the country and just decided, right, I'm going to build it.
It really is wild when you place yourself back then. HCL Hindustan Computers Limited originally started in a garage, a small Delhi garage. And not with loads of cash. It was something like 1,087,000 pounds, which even then wasn't a huge amount for that kind of ambition. And it was just him and 6 friends. That initial investment, it says so much about betting on people and ideas, not just money.
It really does. And what they came up with next was, well, groundbreaking. Their first product was a microcomputer launched in 1978. That's years, literally years, before the big global names really entered the Indian market properly. And it wasn't just about selling a box. It was this deep made-in-India idea from the get-go, focusing on their own tech, developing it in-house. It showed they were in it for the long haul.
And from that incredibly bold start, HCL just took off. Under Nadar, it grew from making hardware to becoming this global IT services giant, expanded to, over 40 countries? And what's really interesting looking back is HCL was one of the very first Indian companies to actually go to Silicon Valley back in the 80s. What kind of foresight did he have to see that international potential so early? Others were still just looking inward.
Well, it wasn't just foresight, maybe. It points to his strategic thinking, his long game, his Soch, as they call it, his mindset. While other Indian firms were still sort of finding their feet domestically, Nadar was already thinking globally, building the kind of capabilities that would set HCL up for the future. And look at it today, a $12 billion plus global company, over 200,000 employees. That growth wasn't just luck. It came from this core philosophy guiding the big decisions.
Yeah, and that philosophy, it is pretty unique. He has that famous quote, "I do not believe in following footsteps, I believe in leaving them." That sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? He was known for focusing on long-term value, sustainable growth, often going against the grain, not just chasing the quick wins, even if it meant slower results sometimes in the short term.
Exactly. That long-term view meant HCL poured money back into R&D, into developing its people. It was a patient strategy. It let them build their own tech and then pivot smoothly into global services while competitors were still stuck on hardware. And his belief that knowledge is the ultimate power, that wasn't just talk. It led to this pretty radical empowerment model inside HCL. He gave leaders like Vineet Nayar real operational control, trusting talent over just hierarchy. That must have spurred innovation like crazy, faster than many other Indian companies could manage.
So, okay, with that kind of strategic mind and this focus on knowledge, it sort of makes sense that his vision would eventually expand beyond just the company. The sources show this shift towards philanthropy, towards education, actually started pretty early, 1994, is that right? When he set up the Shiv Nadar Foundation. And right from the start, the goal was clear: transform education in India. It really became his focus from around 2000 onwards. What was it about education specifically, do you think, that really grabbed him?
Well, if you connect the dots, it seems like for Nadar, education was the bedrock, the absolute foundation for building the nation he envisioned. And the scale of his commitment is just, wow. Over $1.1 billion poured into these initiatives. That makes him one of India's biggest philanthropists, period. But it's not only about the money, right?
Yeah.
It's the actual institutions he's built, each one designed for a very specific purpose, a specific impact.
Right, and these aren't small projects either. We're talking major educational institutions. You've got the SSN College of Engineering down in Tamil Nadu, now a top-ranked private college there, a real beacon for higher ed. Then there's Shiv Nadar University in UP, focused on research, multidisciplinary stuff.
Mm-hmm. And maybe the most profound one is the Vidyagan schools. These aren't just schools giving charity. They're like a radical experiment in social mobility. They find incredibly bright kids from really underprivileged rural backgrounds, like the absolute poorest families, and give them a totally free, world-class education. It completely changes their life path, breaks that cycle of poverty. It's amazing. So it's a whole pipeline, really,
Right.
from basic schooling right up to advanced research.
Yeah, it's incredible. So with all that, it's no surprise he got major awards. The Padma Bhushan in 2008, that's one of India's highest civilian honors. Forbes called him one of Asia's heroes of philanthropy, and he's always up there in the rankings of India's richest, most respected business leaders. Then, 2020, another big moment, kind of the next chapter in the legacy.
That's right. He stepped down as HCL chairman, handed the leadership over to his daughter, Roshni Nadar Malhotra, which made her the first woman in India to head a major listed IT company. That wasn't just passing the baton. It was a huge statement about continuity, about the strength of the institution he built, and about those values he embedded, like empowering talent, whoever they are.
So when you pull it all together, Shiv Nadar's story, you see this amazing link, don't you, between that hardcore entrepreneurial drive and this really deep commitment to society. His Soch, his mindset, it wasn't just about winning in the market. It was about lifting up the whole nation.
Exactly. He saw technology as this powerful engine for sure, but education, that was the fuel, the essential ingredient for the new India he imagined. Quite a rare combination, that blend of, aggressive business building and genuine nation building. He really walked the talk.
He absolutely did. And those two quotes you hear associated with them, they just nail it. Success is not about accumulating wealth. It's about making a difference. And true education is not about rote learning. It's about curiosity. They're not just nice sayings, are they? They feel like the actual principles he lived by.
Totally. They guided him from that garage right through to building a global giant, and then on to changing thousands, probably millions of lives through education. It's a really powerful story about purpose being more than just profit.
Shiv Nadar's legacy really does make you stop and think, about what success really means, what lasting impact looks like. What does his journey tell us about how wealth and leadership can be used to make a real lasting difference? And maybe how does his blend of business and philanthropy make you think about your own sense of purpose beyond just the day-to-day or the bottom line?